Why should we do that first time round?
Yes.
That's what Barry's talking about. Let's do
You right, guys? Welcome to the Trial and Error podcast. This week, obviously, you'll notice different setting completely. That's because we've got these two guys here from Andy's Man Club, an incredible organisation that's all centred around men's mental health and really bringing people together in a setting like this, getting people around and just talking about anything and everything. You be as open as you want or as closed as you want. If you want to sit here and listen to people, you do that. If you want to share the whole time, you do that. It's really just a safe space for guys to discuss mental health, and which is a really just brilliant thing, isn't it? And this is exactly what this kind of podcast is meant to be about. So there's no better people to talk to than these guys that are really doing it in the most practical sense with people in real life, and they're really out there in the field doing it and listening to men and their problems and helping firsthand. So yeah, we'll just pass over to you guys and just tell the people listening about Andy's Man Club and how it started and what you guys do and how it's going.
Yeah, so I'm Craig, one of the facilitators here at the Plymouth group in Andy's Man Club. Andy's Man Club was set up back in July 2016, following the death of a young lad called Andy Roberts, who took his own life at the age of 23. His family set the charity up on the back of that to really with the aim of not letting another family go through what they'd gone through. So it was Andy's brother-in-law Luke, who's an ex-rugby league player. Between him and Andy's mom, they set it up. What started out as one small group up in Halifax of nine men sat in a circle like this is now 190 plus groups, 4,500 men a week attending every Monday night, apart from bank holidays, but every Monday 7 till 9 p.m. Myself and Joe, we're part of the two groups in Plymouth, but from as far south as Plymouth, far north as Aberdeen. Every single group runs exactly the same. It's just sort of like you say, bringing men together, no matter whether their problem is a 0 or a 10. To them, it's important, and it's giving them that space to talk.
Yeah, because that's what we say, isn't it? Like we said it in our introduction one. Just because it doesn't seem like a problem to somebody else, it could be the biggest problem in the world to you.
Yeah, there's no top trumps at Andy's Man Club.
No, and that's it, and everyone's welcome. And we are a non-judgmental organisation as well, so we get people from all demographics, ages from the age of 18 upwards. You get people from all ages, all demographics going to Andy's Man Club. And there's no judgment, no one's problem is bigger than anybody else's problem.
What's the youngest you've had?
18.
18 is the minimum, just from a safeguarding point of view. So,
Yeah, of course.
Yes, as long as man aged over the age of 18, they can come along on a Monday night.
Yeah, we start the group off obviously introducing ourselves, and we've always got the same first 3 questions as well. How's your week been? Positive reason for being here. Positive from your week, sorry, and anything to get off your chest. And as you can imagine, anything to get off your chest is the beefy question. It's the one that takes the time, and somewhere along gets the big shares out. But it doesn't just have to be a negative thing to get off your chest as well. It can also be a massive positive thing to get off your chest. So let's say you've conquered something that you've been trying to conquer for years. It can always be something that's positive as well.
So what started both of you coming, if you don't mind sharing?
Yeah, I'll start if you want. Yeah. So I'm from Hull. I still live in Hull. My family's still up in Hull. I'm in the Navy down here, and I've always struggled. I had a massive problem with childhood abandonment. You could say that I had daddy issues.
Yeah.
You could say that I had massive rejection issues. I was scared of getting close to anybody, whether that be friends, whether that be girls, anything like that. I was always scared of getting close to somebody. I had girlfriends that I'd leave before they left me. So I'd get in there before they left me, so I can hurt them before they can hurt me.
Yeah.
And as bad as that sounds,
defensive thing is
defensive mechanism.
Yeah, I can relate.
And I always had that from being dead young. And Andy's Man Club was formed in Halifax, as we've already said, and Hull got a group quite early on. I think it was 2017, 2018, around that. And I knew about it because I knew someone called Jason that was going to the groups, and he was sharing on Facebook. He was doing check-ins, and the group had just started. Yeah. So I knew it existed, and I did what all men do, buried my head in the sand and went, no, I can handle this.
Yeah, of course.
So 2018, still on my ship, and then 2019 came, and I was on the gangway on Monmouth. I was in the dockyard down Frigate Alley, sat on the right gangway with my rifle, and I just started crying. I had like a massive breakdown, which is not really advised when you've got arms and ammunition. But I had a massive breakdown, started crying. I had my AB sat next to me, young lad that was sat next to me. I just put my rifle down, went to the toilet, and just sat and cried, locked doors, crying my eyes out. Opened the door, come back out, and he said to me, mate, do you want to talk about it? I went, nah.
Yeah.
So instead of going somewhere free when I got home, went on leave, went home, instead of going somewhere free, I spent 250 quid on getting hypnotherapy.
Yeah.
It worked for about, I thought it worked for about a week, and then I just got back into the same rut, this same routine again. And then 2020 came, and I had the best year of my life, because I was at home for 7 weeks, best week in my life, and then best year of my life, some promotion course. I had a bit of regular structure to my life, so I was quite happy with that. And 2021 came, and sorry, it's a really long story in it, but 2021 came, and I floated to meet a ship in Japan, and they had more draconian COVID measures, should we say. And I was sat in a hotel room for 2 weeks. I was sat in one for a week that was no bigger than that first pile on there to here. Yeah. And there was a desk in there, so I could sit down, a bit of luxury. However, I couldn't pull the chair out. Yeah. So I was just laid on a bed for a week, just sat looking at the ceiling, stuck in my own thoughts, having panic attacks, anxiety attacks, my heart was going out my chest. I couldn't speak to anyone at home. The time difference was that bad. Yeah. I was just stuck in my own head for like a week. Went to another hotel, which wasn't much better. And I got on the ship then, and I just didn't want to be there. I was just in this rut. I couldn't get out of this rut. Then 2022 came, and I had like the worst year of my life. And for the first 6 months of that year, I got back from that deployment, and I went to Andy's Man Club then. Yeah. But then
so you've gone like a good couple of years.
Yeah. And then 2020, and then I didn't go back. So I thought, I'm cured. So 2022 came, and first 6 months of the year, I was in a bad place, really, really dark place. But it didn't affect my job. Yeah. Second 6 months of the year, something around that time, really started to affect my job then. I was logging on, logging off, going back to the mess, having coffee, just sitting there. And I wasn't doing anything positive. Went to the doc, and I answered this questionnaire, and I was 27 out of 30 for having depression on this questionnaire. Yeah. Which I didn't officially get diagnosed with depression, but I had depression. And I wouldn't go on meds, because there was something to do with my job, and that was the only thing that was keeping me going. So, got back, Mrs. forced me out of the house, go to Andy's Man Club. Right, no worries. Before that, I was coming out of Virginia, and I was sat against this wall. My heart was coming out my chest, and all this stuff, and then I knew then, got bollocked off the captain for not doing my job, got bollocked for having a panic attack, insane. And then got back, went to Andy's Man Club, and then it took me 4 months to come to the Plymouth one. So I did that first walk, and then I had to do it again. And the first walk is scary.
I can imagine.
And then I had to do the walk for a second time, coming to the Plymouth group. And the only thing that ties me to Plymouth is my job. There's no other thing in the world that ties me to Plymouth other than my job. But I went, May 23 I went, and I haven't looked back since. I've really enjoyed it. August 23 came, and I wanted to set my own life, and I thought about it a lot. And I was at an Hull City match. And normally, it sounds going to sound really, really weird, but I like to get to a stadium and watch the stadium fill up around me. I don't like going into a full stadium. Yeah. It's weird, but I don't know why. I have this thing where I have to watch it fill up around me. So the turnstiles open at 1:30. Yeah. I would be there at 1:30. But I took my missus' nephew to the game, and he was late getting back from his rugby match. So I was a bit like, I'm gonna have to watch the stadium fill up. I'm gonna walk it, and then I was sat there, and this whole game I was thinking, right, I'm gonna go commit suicide here. And I thought about it a lot. And I was gonna go to the Umber Bridge, and ironically, there's a Samaritan sign right in the middle of the bridge, and that was the point I was gonna jump off. It was that one there where I was gonna jump off.
Already planned it.
In my head, I knew exactly where I was going, exactly the route I was gonna take to the bridge, exactly the point I was gonna jump off. I knew, I had it all planned in my head. And ironically, 2 weeks after that, Andy asked me to be a facilitator, and that was the point where that was the clarity when I got asked to be a facilitator at Andy's Man Club.
It's kind of like a sign.
The validation, and
Yeah.
I realised at that point all I was looking for in my life was just somebody to tell me that I'm good enough.
Yeah. I think
All I wanted was someone to accept me. I didn't feel that rejection anymore. I felt like I'd been accepted,
Yeah.
and that was the validation that I needed at that point.
I think we all chase that, don't we? I think we all chase
We
that,
do.
being wanted and being liked, or
We do. And
Feeling some reason to be here, like if you matter to somebody or something.
so. What stopped you then when you wanted to jump? Like, what was that thought that made you think I can't do this or I don't want to do
my
it?
little girl was sat next to me
Yeah.
at the game, and if she wasn't there, my little girl and my nephew were sat there, and if they wasn't there, that's when I would have gone.
Do you see that as a sign?
100%.
Yeah.
100% that was a sign to not do it. And ironically, 2 weeks after getting asked to be a facilitator, I feel that was the clarity for me.
Yeah.
That was what I needed. I needed that. I needed someone to say that you are good enough, you. And
Yeah.
I needed that. And I think men,
I think we all need.
we chase
yeah.
that.
Yeah, of course.
No matter how needy that sounds.
Because you're
We
always
do.
trying to be good enough for something, if it's your partner, your kids, or
Yeah.
your mates, or whatever. It's like you're always trying to support and provide or give something to the people around you. I feel like
I
it's.
think we're all slightly people pleasers.
Yeah.
In a way, every one of us men, we are people pleasers, and we don't talk about that enough.
Yeah, and I think we put a lot of people's feelings and opinions first before ours.
100% we do, yeah, we do. And especially, I think sometimes we lose ourselves as men.
Yeah.
We give that much of ourselves to others, we spread ourselves that thin.
Yeah.
That we do a lot of the time, I think we do.
Yeah,
lose
I've
ourselves.
experienced that recently. I mean, we'll share it with the group. It was literally Monday this week that I drove to Calover thinking I'm going to kill myself.
Yeah.
Because it's, you know, there's a lot. I'm one of these kind of people that I like to feel busy. I like to feel responsible. I like to take control of things, and like I like to take on things, and I've just got to a point where I've taken on so much that my mind physically cannot function. And I've got things going on in the background, like arguments with like family or like girlfriends or whatever, and you're trying to put a brave face on for everybody else, but like that's bothering you, and like there's arguments that aren't resolved that keep creeping up. And
What stopped you? If you don't mind me asking.
I literally drove there. I knew exactly how I was going to do it. I was either going to drown myself in my car or just take myself and drown myself.
Yeah.
And I'm more of a writer, not a speaker. So I sat on my phone and I literally typed up. It took me half an hour, but I literally typed up exactly why. I literally captioned it. Why am I sad? Why don't I want to be here anymore? And I just sat and wrote. And you know, what stopped me is I've got 2 young brothers at home, 6 and 4, and you know, there's things I still haven't done in life. You know, like there's things I haven't achieved that I want to do still. Which that was more my idea. Like I still have a purpose, even though you feel like you don't. You still do deep down.
100% you do it.
And I thought about what I haven't done yet. I thought about, you know, if I go now, I'm going to miss my 6-year-old and 4-year-old brother growing up. You know, I've just got into a new relationship, so I'm going to not see how well that goes. You know, I've just built a good relationship with my mum back up again, so, you know, then I'll destroy that.
Yeah.
You know, I've just started a new job. There's so many things that, you know, like you sit there in that moment of shit where you think, I don't want this anymore. And you sit there and you think about your purpose and you think about what you've got going on around you. And like I put in my note, you know, I know that I've got all these things going for me at the minute, but that doesn't bother me. And I sat up Caddo for like 45 minutes, 50 minutes, just crying my eyes out typing that. And, you know, got to like 11 o'clock, I think. Got to get myself home before I do anything silly. And it's a weird one because I remember lying in bed and I just generally thought, oh, I can't do this anymore. I got out of my car, I said bye to my mum. And that note that I wrote was kind of a goodbye thing. And then I got halfway through it and I thought, actually no, I've still got a purpose. Like this podcast for me is my main purpose at the minute. Like I kind of want to shed a light on, you know, everyone goes through shit. Everyone's life is shit. Like this world can be pretty shit, but there's always light at the end of the tunnel.
And it's a permanent solution to what is often a
Of course,
somewhat temporary problem.
of course, because my problems are small. They're something that can be fixed with a conversation, with an apology.
To you, it is.
Yeah, but it's you, it's the big.
To me at the minute, I've got an ongoing issue that really, if I was mature and opened up, I could apologise, say sorry, and we can all move past it. But I'm stubborn. I'm old. I've got my way of it's either my way or no way. So I need to mature. I need to, overlook, because what I'm doing is I could just apologise, and everyone will be happy. Everyone would get on, but I'm too stubborn. So that's kind of what I need to do.
I think you said about people pleasing really it made me think of I can't remember where I heard it. It was probably a year or two ago, and I always mention it in club whenever anyone says about being a people pleaser. I'm like, it is perfectly okay to be a people pleaser as long as the person at the top of the list is you.
Yeah, 100%.
As long as you're the top of that list, you can please everyone else, but you just don't sacrifice you.
Yeah,
to
of course.
please everyone else.
I said that in group this week.
Yeah, you can't like rely on other people, because making other people happy makes you happy for like a brief moment, but it's like you had and Reese had.
Yeah, it's like you right now. Like you've put yourself first. And you've upset somebody to make yourself happy, and that's all you can ask for in life.
It's like it's those moments where you're alone and nobody's around to focus on them instead of you. I feel like that's, if you rely on other people to be happy to make you happy, then it's those moments where you're laid in a crap hotel room looking up at the ceiling with nothing going on but your own thoughts, or just laid in bed because you've got nothing going on and you feel like nothing. Like for me, even just like boredom at home makes me really like down on myself. So if you're
keep yourself busy,
like if I've got something, like if I'm not studying at home, or I don't have the energy to play some sort of video game or something, because you just sat there, and it's normally in those moments that me personally, you just feel like you're not doing anything, you're not giving out anything, so you feel a bit.
Something I heard today was about work. They were doing a talk in work about sort of stress, and they were saying that it's like if you read for 6 minutes a day, it's got this it reduces your stress by like 20%. Just 6 minutes a day.
Yeah.
Which I need to really focus on.
Yeah, I think we all get locked into our phones, don't we? We all lose a sense of reality when you look at your phone. You're looking at pictures of celebrities and stuff. You lose kind of sense of what is actually your life and what's going on. Yeah. So how did you start?
Yeah, for me, so again, similar to Joe, I knew about Andy's Man Club probably 2016, 2017 once it got started, and it really went out there, and Luke, who set it up, had a big social media campaign, and it was all over Instagram and Facebook. So I knew about them, but lived up in the Midlands. At the time, there was very few clubs, and I was going through some rubbish with work. Well, I used to work; it wasn't a very good environment for me. Being told that I didn't have anything to feel stressed about in my job. Well, that's not really the thing that you say to someone who's feeling stressed. You haven't got anything to feel stressed about. Went to like NHS and did CBT and stuff like that. At the time, that was the only thing I could look to do. Got myself into a slightly better place. Moved down here spring 2018. So my ex-wife at the time was from here. We got married down here. We both lived in Birmingham. Plan was to move down here and set up a life and buy a house and have a family down here. So I moved down here to start a new job in Plymouth. She stayed up in the Midlands while we sold the house, and she got finished her year. She worked in a school at the time, so got to the end of her year, and then she could move down and start a new job. Over that summer, for one reason or another, don't recall now, just whirlwind summer. I was living with her mum and dad at the time. She then decided, or between us, we decided that it wasn't working, and we were going to split up. So I was then in a city where all my friends and family were back up in Birmingham. The only contacts and sort of support network I had here was linked to her. Remember spending my wedding anniversary viewing flats for me to move out to go and live in a flat on my own, because clearly I couldn't. She'd moved down to live with mum and dad, and clearly I couldn't stay living there. So moved into a flat, and it was in a really shit place. So Joe said about sort of affecting jobs. So the only thing really that was keeping me here was the job I was in at the time, which obviously has changed. I did really enjoy my job, and I told my employer that in the meantime, that if I hadn't enjoyed my job, car and driven back to Birmingham in that summer and just lived in Birmingham and gone back home. First knew about Andy's Man Club, as I say, and I vividly remember I worked in the school at the time, teacher training day, sat in my office while all the teachers were there in the hall doing all the teacher training. I'm sat in my office doing stuff, and I vividly remember sitting at my desk in floods of tears, just hoping that no one would walk in the door and see me upset and thinking I can do that now because they're all downstairs, they're all in a teacher training session. But loving my heart out, went on Facebook, saw that night that the Andy's Man Club in Newton Abbot was opening.
Yeah.
They'd moved from Teignmouth to Newton Abbot, new club. That night they're opening, and for whatever reason, my mind just went, you need to go to that tonight. You need to go to that, drive up there. I don't remember driving up there, I don't remember driving back, just a blur. I googled it and found where it was. Walked along, and bear in mind this is the first night this club's opening, so all the guys there are going to be new, not going to know anyone. So I walked up to there. I don't think I even had, I mean, some guys who come, you'll see them sort of get back in the car and drive off and come back the next week, or they'll walk past and you see that, look at your t-shirt and you think they're probably here for Andy's Man Club, but they don't want to say. So you sometimes ask them. I didn't even have that. It's just like, right, I'm going to this club and I need help. Walked towards the door, met by a giant of a man who now is one of my very good friends, who was running the Newton Abbot Club. He found his Man Club. Yeah, walked in, sat down to myself, hunched over, didn't know what to expect. Ball like this came to me, and as the ball was going around the room on the first question of how's your week been, I was like, oh, please, like, don't ask me this question. The previous day was when my marriage had ended, so I was like, ball come to me, how's your week been? I got 4 words out. Yesterday my marriage ended, and I burst into tears. And growing up in the 90s with the culture of men behaving badly, lads out on the night out, drinking and lad culture, for about 5 seconds I was waiting for either laughter or what you're crying for, that sort of reaction, and I was just met with silence. And there was a bloke sat behind me who I'd never met in my life, just one of the new guys in the room. I've even put my hand on my shoulder and just saying, it'll be alright, everything will be alright. And I just burst into tears. And I went that night, and the guys at Newton Abbot have used me as a bit of an example. They said they'd never seen anyone so low in their life. They didn't expect to see me the following week. They did not expect me to be around. Not just go to the club, didn't expect me to be around. So they said that the sight of me walking in the door the following week was like a big relief to them that I was still here. And for months I was still sort of going to work, putting on this smile that, oh yeah, everything's fine, and then going home. The minute I walked out the door, mask came off and went home and cried. We often say that we share a room on a Monday night with like most of the UK's finest actors. Guys that for most of the week pretend that everything's fine, and then for that 2 hours on a Monday night let the mask slip and talk. So I carried on going to Andy's Man Club, continued to drive up Newton Abbot every Monday, and then that was sort of September 2018, March, April time 2019, got myself into a new relationship, which I didn't expect to sort of happen so quickly. And they said to me, like, I started to help out with the Newton Abbot Club and sort of support new guys coming in and sort of help effectively being a facilitator without really being a facilitator, so help get people teas and coffees and stuff. And they said, oh, you're in a much better place. We're interested in setting a group up in Plymouth. Is that, if we can get one set up, is that something you'd want to be involved in? I was like, yeah, absolutely. Like, this has genuinely saved my life. There's been times where I'd drive home to Birmingham, across the Bristol Bridge, and that moment in my head would go, I wonder what would happen if I just like turned the wheel.
Yeah, I think we're
here. What would happen? And it would pass, like it would just be a moment. I don't think I was ever in a position where, and thankfully, where I was sort of in the point where I was knowing exactly what I would do, but it was more just like an ideation.
Just a no.
Just like a momentary, like what would happen, yeah. Which is completely natural. I mean, we say that in group that when people say about that, having those sort of thoughts, it's most people will have them at some point. Like, it's just
because there's a stigma around that in itself, isn't there? Of like, as soon as you say that you wanted to die and you wanted to kill yourself. It's like in itself, it's a kind of selfish act, and it's got a stigma.
It's getting better. I mean, some people
against
don't
it,
know
doesn't
how
it?
to react to somebody saying, and that'll just take time. Like
Yeah.
if someone says, "I want to kill myself," you don't
But I
necessarily know
feel
how
like
to react to that.
if you panic and you have people around you that panic, it makes it worse. Whereas, you know, if you just sit here like we have and you just accept that that's what it is, and that, you know, that is probably the darkest thought anybody could possibly have.
I think it's suicidal thoughts and suicidal attempts
Ideation
or
and
ideation.
isn't it?
There's two completely
Yeah,
different
of course.
things. Like the amount of times I've driven down here on a Sunday, going, if I turn the wheel right now,
Yeah.
like you've just said, Craig, like the amount of times I've done that, I drive up and down the country every week. If the amount of times, if I got rebriefed essentially for every single time that I've thought that,
Yeah.
I won't get anything done.
Yeah.
It's a difference between ideation
Yeah.
and activation.
Massively.
Like having a plan and thinking, I'm going to go and do it. Those are two so
Like,
different.
The darkest I've been was when I had the plan and I knew exactly where I was going to do it. And I even thought the next day, if I could just get in the car now, it'd take me half an hour and it's done. That's different than me going, right, I'm on the M5 now, I've got 146 miles. If I turn the wheel now, I don't need to drive that.
Yeah.
Were you
Do you know what I
afraid when you had those thoughts, or?
That was.
I think my thing was more, the reason why I probably didn't act on it was probably, I think the bridge thing in particular was, I had the thought of, but what happens if it doesn't go the way I want it to go? What if I'm what if I get hurt? Then it was more that like, well, what if it doesn't work?
Do you get a sense of guilt the next day? Like that you had those thoughts? Because on Monday, I woke up the next day on Tuesday and I kind of felt the same, but I then kind of felt, I don't know.
I think the guilt's probably natural. It's
I
probably just
felt
a natural
that guilt
thought
feeling that I thought, why did I think? And then I'm looking at my younger brothers and I'm looking at my mum and I'm thinking, these I have no idea that I've drove on.
And that's probably the reason. That's what, because you care.
Yeah.
That what would happen.
Yeah, like I
That's
said,
natural.
in itself, it is a selfish act in that kind of way, in which, like, obviously you feel like you don't matter to anybody, but even if it's like a friend, even you matter
I think in that moment that you're not really thinking about the consequence. You're not really thinking about anything.
No.
It's just in that moment that's the thought.
Going back to what you said about CPT, all that stuff. Like, do you believe in that kind of stuff, or do you think this is where you want to go?
This is where I have got more out of it. The CBT one, and I think people do say this quite a lot about things like CBT, is that CBT is a weird one because you have to like be
Like
100% in it. Like if you're not fully invested in it, it won't necessarily work for you potentially, because you've got to be full on with it.
Yeah, I kind of find now like resources aren't like they're so stretched now that
For me, this has been a game
yeah,
changer.
it's free because I got in the last year or so I've been on the phone to many people and like, but you've got to go for an assessment and you've literally got to be like on death's door wanting to kill yourself to actually even get seen by anyone. Like the minute you say, no, I haven't had suicide thought for 2 weeks, they kind of push you aside and go, okay, well you're.
I found the thing with Andy's Man Club is you've got to want to get better.
Yeah.
So I've seen people come to Andy's Man Club. I've took people along to Andy's Man Club that aren't.
Committed.
They want to do it. They want to come and see what it is and try it. But it's not for everyone.
Yeah, cool.
And the thing is, it's not for everybody. Like sitting in a circle, passing the ball around, saved my life. 110% saved my life, and that's why I like to give back as much as I possibly can. Because I'm still, at the end of the day, primarily I am still a user for the group.
Yeah.
I'm still not 100% over, and I don't think I ever will be. I think anxiety is just something that I've got to accept as part of my life.
It's a really random question, but did you believe in anxiety and panic attacks?
No.
Because no, I for a long time I'd hear people I used to think it was being used as an excuse, like no, I can't, and I generally didn't believe in it until about, I don't know, 12 months ago, and that panic attack of knowing that you're going to go somewhere and that feeling of your heart, like literally feel like your heart's about to pump out your chest and you can't breathe and you're like, I generally didn't believe in it for a very long time, and like, you kind of feel guilty looking at people thinking, I never really believed in what you used to say, but now I've experienced it.
So I thought the ones I was having in the hotel room were bad.
Yeah.
But I didn't think they were panic attacks.
Yeah.
I thought it was just, I I thought I was just scared of where I was because I was on my own.
Yeah, of course.
The one I had, so when the ship was coming out of Virginia in America, and I was stood beside the PO gunner, so I was stood behind people on the GPMGs, I was stood behind them. And I was stood on the bridge. If I stand up here, right, so this is the bridge thing here. I was against it like this, almost like squatting against the wall, holding my chest. But I couldn't move.
Yeah.
I couldn't move. And the only thing that I remember about that set of specials, was it specials for an hour and a bit, 2 hours, something like that? The only thing I remember about that specials was one of the seaman specialists coming out and telling me that the captain's fuming with me.
Really?
But I was like, I don't care. Like,
Yeah.
I've got jobs on. I'm busy here. And all I could feel was myself. I couldn't move. Like, I remember feeling my heart's coming out of my chest. I can't breathe. I feel like I can't move.
Yeah.
And I knew it was bad because I was squatting and my legs weren't hurting.
Yeah.
So I knew I was in a bad way there and then. And that's all I remember. That was the point when I said I was having panic attacks, because I didn't really believe I was having them. I didn't believe it was a real thing. Until that's when I knew. And going back to when you said you were crying, Craig, I remember being on board as well. And on board you have your curtains on your bed.
Yeah.
I was going to bed at 7 o'clock in the evening so people wouldn't hear me crying. So I was shutting my curtain and I was in a little ball with this quilt over my head and I'm just crying. I was doing that for about 2 or 3 months where I wasn't eating in the evening. So the evening meal was at 7 o'clock.
Yeah.
I wasn't eating, I was just going to bed and crying. And that was happening. I kept consistently waking up at 3 in the morning.
Yeah.
And I couldn't sleep after 3 in the
I had
morning.
real trouble sleeping.
Yeah, that was my big one. That like, I couldn't get my head down enough.
I'd wake up like every 2 hours.
Yeah.
I'd be awake then, and then thankfully now I've got mechanisms to sort of support that with not anything it's sort of YouTube meditation music that plays through the night while I'm asleep.
Do you agree with the medication, or are you someone who would? If
No,
you,
no,
if you could choose...
I was on medication to begin with, and then stopped just because I think it's I mean that's one of the things actually we don't really discuss at AMC.
Yeah.
I mean, people can make comments that I've been to the doctor this week and they've changed my meds. That's fine, but we don't sort of go down the route of I'll stop my meds. You should stop your meds, and because that's not
because each their own, isn't it? Everyone's different.
We're not trained as facilitators. We're here peer to peer, so it's not. We would always say, right, for that conversation, you go to your GP or whatever.
Of course.
So that's one of the topics we don't discuss. The other ones are politics and religion, quite
I can imagine.
quite
Obvious
easy
reasons.
for sort of obvious reasons, and then criminal matters, just because if someone mentions something here and then 6 months down the line you're in court and you're on the jury and that sort of stuff, so it's not it could be something that someone's been impacted by in the past they're talking about, so it's just again we can go into I've got this going on and it's making me feel X, but not into the details of it, because it could like impact impartiality, and obviously anything they mention confidential wouldn't be able to be held up in a court as it was confidential. We weren't allowed to talk about it, sort of thing. So we just sort of steer clear with those four.
Could be a very slim chance that there's a copper in the room that's investigating that very person as well. So you have to like.
Because we
Are
don't
you
know.
surprised how many people you get? Because when I walked into this room, I didn't expect it to be this big, and when you kind of gave me numbers, and because us men, I know for a fact I could not come into a room like this and sit in a room. I mean, like I said earlier, I'm more of a typer. I would not sit in a room and talk. But are you surprised how many people come through the doors weekly?
Yes,
I
no,
am.
think.
I am, yeah. But when I think, because I remember when I heard about it, I thought I was going to walk into a bunch of blokes crying.
Yeah.
That's literally in my head. That's exactly what Andy's Man Club was. A bunch of blokes sat around crying.
Yeah,
and it couldn't be further from the truth. But I thought I was alone.
Yeah.
I thought I was the only person in the world that wanted to kill themselves, that felt the way I feel, that was having these panic attacks. I thought I was the only person in the world that was going through that. And then when I walked through the door at Craven Park, and there was like 15 people sat in a circle, and I was like, this is insane. Like, there's this many people. And then when I came to the Plymouth one, again, 10, 12 people at City College. I think you're one of the first people I spoke to, Craig, as well. I think, like, I couldn't believe how many people there was. I couldn't believe how countrywide Andy's Man Club was at that point.
To be fair, I remember looking at like Facebook page, Instagram. I like seeing numbers like 50,000, that's like a lot of. I wouldn't expect that. Like I said, when I came in here, I was shocked by the size.
It's about 4,500 men a week
Yeah.
attend
Yeah.
Andy's Man Club, and that's a combination of facilitators and users. Like Joe said, as facilitators, our first thing is to still be a user of the group. So we've still got stuff to get off our chest. We've still got things we have to talk about. But also, I think it gives the guys. So, if, for example, I'm sat here and there's a new guy sat next to me, I don't think it would work if I went right. Welcome everyone. Question 1 is, how's your week been? Right, there you go.
Yeah.
It's
Like
Question-
teachers, but
yeah,
put
it's
you on
like
the spot.
question,
sort of
question
thing.
1 is, how's your week been? My week has been X,
Yeah.
Y, and Z. Oh, Joe, your turn now. And then it goes around the room. When the ball comes around the room, there's no obligation for people to. We mentioned that at the start. There's no obligation to speak.
Yeah.
The number of times we've had guys who you see them just pass the ball on every single question, absolutely fine.
No.
Everyone who's been in the room would have been in that situation where they walked in the door that first week and remember what it was like. And similarly, they can say as much as they want to, as little as they want to. There's no. We as facilitators do sort of manage the conversation. So if it starts to go off on a tangent, we'll bring it back.
Yeah.
And that's all that is. That's not.
Do you
That's
find
not
your job kind of difficult sometimes?
it can be. I mean, it's not because we don't want to hear what that person says. It's just because we've got 2 hours and we want to make sure everyone gets
Yeah.
that sort of time. There are points where you sort of miss your chance to sort of bring the conversation back, and you have to then wait for the next break. But it's not really. It's more the fact we'll have sort of 2 or 3 facilitators in the room. So between the 3 of us, say we'll have an opportunity to sort of bring the group back on task. And like Joe said, the way the questions are set up, they're not really set out to be sort of trick questions.
Of
Like
course,
how, even if somebody sat there, I mean, the first week when I went, balls of tears, I could still answer the question, how's my week been? Even though it's been shit, I could still answer the question of how my week's been. And I could still answer the next question of how
I'm quite intrigued with this ball. I kind of want to see what these questions are, because you and Nate were talking earlier about sandwiches, so I'm kind of wanting to see what these questions are like.
So yeah, the first 3 are the same every week. So, and the other thing as well is every Andy's Man Club has the same 5 questions every week.
Yeah.
So if you went to Plymouth this week, or Hull next week, or Glasgow the week after, different people, but you'd have the same questions as someone down here. The first 3 questions are always the same. So how's your week been? Positive week, anything to get off your chest. We normally then have a break, time dependent. We go back and have a cup of tea and biscuits, which are all provided free by the charity, so we don't have to provide those. And then come back, and the last 2 questions change each week. Normally a bit more light-hearted, a bit more
fun,
easygoing, positive.
What was yours? My favourite one of all time? Billboard one?
Yeah, so if you could get a message onto a billboard for the world to see, what message would you have on it?
That's my favourite one we've ever had.
That's
So
quite
what
good,
if you could get a message to everyone in the world?
Oh, then we're on the spot.
Live, laugh, love.
The number of guys, to be fair, that have used the Andy's Man Club, it's okay to talk, that sort of
No, see, I think I'll try and go funny.
We
with
should
that.
go for ours, shouldn't we? Our slogan.
No, I think
Advertise, join the
the best-
conversation.
I think I'd go funny. I don't know.
The best question I've ever heard as a 4 or 5.
Socks and sliders, not sandals, or something like
was,
that. I'd go,
If you could go on a road trip with any 3 people, who would you pick?
what, celebs?
Anyone.
Anyone?
And the best
Oh, you
answer,
pick celebs every time.
the
I
best
pick them up.
answer I heard was Jeremy Clarkson, Richard Hammond, and James May.
100%.
That
Yeah,
would
that's
be a
got to be
brilliant road trip.
a top tier answer there.
Someone else answered it. It wasn't really in the politics bit, but it was Donald Trump, Kim Jong-un, and Putin was the other answer someone gave.
Yeah, just want to get
Be a fun.
It's want to get
Yeah,
out the range, wouldn't you?
yeah.
What's going on in there?
Just to be in there, just to be in the car with them. But yeah, so those 2 questions change, and the number of weeks where someone will answer question 3, you see the physical relief getting off the chest, and they're in a bad way, and then tears. And then by the end of question 5, they're laughing and joking with the rest of the group.
That's my favourite thing about being a facilitator, that when you see someone come in, question 1 that's sat like this, they get the name out, and then that's it. And they start like that. Question 3 comes, they share a little bit more, and then by question 4 and 5, they're sat back in the chair like this.
Relax, yeah.
That's my favourite thing. You can see the light come on.
You see the difference in someone. So we will alternate the groups as well. So we have just a bit of an allocation sheet here, and it means we get a sort of even number of numbers. But also, if for example there's a fire drill, we know we've got 10 people in this room, we get 10 people out. So we try and mix the groups up each week with facilitators and users, and there'll be weeks where I'll see someone like this week, I won't then be in a group with them for like 3 or 4 weeks,
Yeah.
and I can notice the difference from the first week I was in with them to the
So
next week.
if you could name one thing that's the best thing about this group, what would you say that one thing is, like the reason people need to come here?
It's just the simplicity.
Yeah.
The simplicity of it, of just
Well, it's free. You sit here. You can sit here.
circle of chairs, free to attend, no waiting list. Like you said, no sort of checklist of how you're feeling, no score of 27 out of 30.
Yeah.
It's just, and the fact that we're here every Monday, I say apart from the bank holidays, which thankfully now we've not got one for a little while. The fact that people can come along, there's no referral, no waiting list. You can see our Facebook post at 6:30 on a Monday and rock up at 10 to 7,
Yeah.
and we'll welcome you in, tea, coffee, biscuits. And the fact that you haven't got to say anything. Guys have been here for 6 weeks and not said a word, and there's other guys who won't say a word on question 1, will hear everyone else speak, and then question 2 they'll be like, oh no, I'm okay to talk, I can answer that question now. And they see that it's not, because it is difficult, like Joe said, walking into a room of 15 blokes that you don't know that all seem to be knowing each other can be quite challenging, and we all understand that, and it's not easy, and like Joe said, it's not for everyone, and I think also the fact that unlike things like CBT and sort of services like that, you don't have to attend every single week if you're not able to. We've got a really good team of facilitators, so we have probably 70 guys a week attend the 2 groups in Plymouth, but we've got a facilitator team of like 35 facilitators. But that's to build in the fact that we're not always there every week. So if we got 35 facilitators, but it means we've got 20 available every single week to run the groups, then great. And like guys will come along 1 week, come back 3 or 4 weeks later. We've seen guys come 1 week and then 6 months later they'll come back and they'll say, I didn't think I really needed it then, but now I really do.
Well, maybe in like your position, they go once and just think, oh, I'm better
good.
now. Yeah, I'm better now.
And seeing guys come along week after week after week, the biggest thing we will always not jump on, but the thing that some people will say to us is, I've had a really good week, and I feel I shouldn't share that. Like, no, absolutely share that you've had a good week, because you could be sat opposite someone who 4 weeks ago they had a good week and you had a rubbish week, and they can then say actually it's reversed, but that's good because my situation will reverse.
I did that. I did that in the group a few weeks ago. I was sat here. Dave was co-facilitating, sat there, and question 3 came around. I had no negatives. I had a really good week, and I remember I had something nagging in my head that I made contact with me. I told you I had daddy issues. I recently got in contact with my dad.
How was that?
We met up last August. And we got met up and that, and it was after I wanted to kill myself. And I had a million questions to ask that bloke. I hadn't seen him for 20 years. 28, I hadn't seen him for 20 years. A million questions to ask him. You know what we did? Spoke about football.
Can imagine.
That was it. Asked him why, told me his reasons, which as a dad myself, I thought, all right, I can get this, I can get on board with this. I won't go into the reasons, but I can get on board with this.
Yeah, cool.
And then we spoke about football, but that's all we spoke about was just Dulcie.
Like, are you still in contact?
Yeah. So I see him now with my little girl, and
Was that hard at first to kind of?
it was hard. I wanted to make sure that we were going to stay in contact before I introduced him for obvious reasons. And that.
Was there a part of you in a selfish way wanted him to like actually graft a little bit, or were you very much you wanted that contact, so you were gonna?
Do you know what? And we touched on it earlier, didn't we, about the selfishness of. And selfishly, I wanted that relationship. I needed that to get completely over these abandonment issues that I had. I needed to get over that, and there's 2 sides to every story, isn't there? I'm going to have my mum's side. I've got his side, and somewhere in the middle is probably the truth. And that's a fact. I'm probably never going to completely know what happened in their relationship, but that's nothing to do with me. I'm just a product of that. And I've forgiven him, and I've forgiven him. I was probably angry at the wrong bloke for a lot of my life. In many ways.
See, I'm kind of in a similar situation. I haven't seen my dad ever really. We've had like a meet up once when I was about 13, 14, but because it's quite a funny story. Because we've worked at Tesco's for a long time with each other, and I remember going on his Facebook because my dad and me on Facebook has a mutual friend, Isaac. I was like, I went to him work. I was like, how do you know my dad? He goes, oh, I go to his car garage.
Well, because you said, oh, do you know
It's a small
Adam Gregory? And I went, yeah, he's at the garage I go to. And then Reese goes, oh, that's my long lost dad, by the way.
Yeah, and he goes, yeah, I can see that. And I'm like, cheers, mate. But no, it's a weird one because my mum's brought me up. I think it's done quite a good job, but like, never really had that desire to meet him. I don't know. I don't know if that's because I haven't known him different, but I've never had any desire. Not until I wouldn't say recently I've had a desire, but there has been. You know, you speak about like your dad. Like, and I'm around friends who talk about their dads, and sometimes I think maybe I am missing out. So you kind of dropped in a conversation the other day
I don't think it's that you're missing out, mate. I think it's that he was in my life till I was 8.
Yes,
I mean, that's the difference. I knew him. I didn't have a desire for years.
Yeah.
Until I had kids.
Yeah.
And then I had that desire.
They should know their granddad or something.
Oh, it was.
Know where they're from.
Do you know what it was? Because I was angry at him, and I was told that he never wanted anything to do with me.
Yeah.
I was always
you wanted
told
to say,
that.
look what I've got. You're never gonna like be a part of this or something.
No, it was more that I couldn't do that to them. So I wanted to know how he could do that. And when going back to like question 3 in the club in the group, when I shared that, I shared the positive from question 3 as the lead facilitator, like that. I felt like I'd overcome a lot of the barriers that I had. I feel like I've just jumped over them. Just from, I had that moment of clarity when I thought, yeah, you know what, I'm done, I'm happy. I'm not angry anymore, I'm happy. And I shared a positive, and then the lad next to me then shared a positive on question 3, and I think that's the beauty. That's one of my favourite things as a facilitator is you can sort of dictate where the conversation goes, because if you, like, say I answered, like, say question 4 was what colour pants do you like wearing? Yeah. Now I went, what a silly question that is, just pass the ball to Craig.
It's always got to be black.
Yeah. I could start a conversation with that.
The person next to you will go, oh yeah, it is a silly question.
Yeah, and they'll pass it on. Whereas if I've got to come up with something, you've got to come up with something decent as the lead before you pass that ball on. And I think that's one of the criteria you need as a facilitator is you need to be able to like make something up on the spot. Bang, there we are. Even though I have the questions all day, I don't think of them until the ball comes to me and I'm like, oh shit.
Yeah.
Even in the break, I read them out before the break, and then I go, I'll think of it at the break, come back and go, I haven't thought about it.
No, I haven't thought about a thing. I've had them all day and I still don't know.
Yeah, so we get those questions on a Monday, so we do have a little bit of time to sort of come up with an answer. But the guys in the room, it's literally on the spot for those questions, and you do get some that don't have an answer, which is absolutely fine.
Do you ever get when you're going through, like you two just did? Do you ever get people that go, "Oh my god, that's exactly what I'm going through"?
All the time.
And do they then talk about it like between themselves like that, or?
That's the beauty of Andy's Man Club, because I could be sat here, never met you in my life, and we've got the same sort of dynamic, same sort of stories, and that's the beauty of it. And I think one of my favourite things, I've got many of them, but one of my favourite things is when we go for the tea break. If you have a look around the tea area, especially at City College, it's quite a small area. You can see little communities of people forming. So you've got a community over there, you've got a little community there, community behind you, and you're like, this is what Andy's Man Club does. Where
builds friendships.
People that feel a bit lonely, maybe Monday night for some people is their night out.
Yeah, of course.
And you can see the mates that are forming. I went on a walk with a lad did a 30-mile walk from Mount Edgecombe to Rame Head, and then back around again to the Kreml Ferry. We did that, and that was with people I've just met at the club. Yeah. And that's the beauty of Andy's Man Club. You get these.
I think there's also points where, like you said, about the sort of connection. We do have that, which is brilliant. But we also, as facilitators, as I mentioned at the time constraint, obviously 7 till 9. If you've got 12 blokes, I think someone worked it out. If you've got 12 guys in the room, not including the break, every person's got 10 minutes to answer 5 questions. Yeah. Which, when you break it down, is like that's not a lot of time. I mean, question 1 will be like, my week's been this, I went to this, did this. So question 1 will be like 30 seconds. Question 3 might be like 5 minutes. So we do have to sort of keep an eye on time. So one of the things we do say at the start of the group is, so you can add to the conversation, that's fine. But if we have to interject to bring it back on topic, it's nothing personal, it's just we want to make sure that everyone gets, and that's just a respect of the room thing. And everyone gets that, everyone's fine with that. And that's the bit that's sort of I find still after 5 years it's difficult to sort of go, really sorry, but we need to, and people get it. It's just sort of more to the.
You don't want to like make people feel like not validated.
No,
That
but
would
then
be
we
the
say
worst
like
thing.
we got the break, we got after group, people can chat after group and that sort of stuff. So everyone's point is valid, but we obviously have to just make sure that everyone gets that full
I
time.
see that a lot as well. Sometimes facilitators will stand and talk to people at the end of the group to like see how they are. If they have like a big share, for example, speak to them after, just check they're all right. Well,
And we have a debrief as facilitators as well, because the things that obviously people talk about. One of the things as well is we say in the intro that whatever they say in the room stays in the room, unless someone says something that we feel is putting them or someone else in danger.
Have you ever like listened to a story and it's like something that stayed with you for a while?
Yeah. But that's part of the debrief. So we'll have the debrief and we'll sort of say, oh, the room was good. This issue came up though, and that I find that good, because then if I've been in a group with someone the week before, or say someone in the facility been in a group, they'll say, oh yeah, they mentioned that last week.
Yeah.
Oh, they didn't talk about that last week, but I can see why that. And it's just to sort of bounce it off each other to say. And similarly, if I'm in a room with Joe, I might say, oh, I'm really worried about X, and Joe will be like, no, I didn't pick up on that. Like, boy, you did everything right, you did everything perfect. And it just puts that sort of puts your mind at rest that you know, hopefully then go home with it. But yeah, there are some stuff that we do sort of hear and stuff that we say as well as users that we sort of have to just check in with each other and just make sure that we're all good.
A positive as well, like in the debrief, we can sometimes identify people that make really good facilitators as well.
Yeah.
So like we've got a process, we get 4 ticks, 3-4 ticks. And like let's say I nominated someone called Dean a few weeks ago.
Yeah.
Who David already given a tick to, and we sort of identify that normally it's when they get into a place where they can facilitate, where they've got that capacity to use it as be not just a user, but be a facilitator as well.
Yeah.
So I always say in groups, sometimes people are having these weeks,
but
it's really hard to maintain that.
Yeah.
What you want is there. Yeah. You can't maintain that, that's impossible, that's not life. But you can maintain them. And once people are on them sort of weeks, in the middle, then medium weeks.
Beige weeks, we call it.
Beige weeks, then the best.
kind of like where
everything's just
they're in a state where they can say everything's not okay, but that's okay. And they can always be like a line of reason, like you said.
We always do say to the guys when we do sort of ask them if they want to come on board that ultimately they still use the group. That will never change. And we basically we do a bit of a roll call on a Sunday of who's going to be a group, a bit of a traffic light system. So thumb up and green is I'm happy to lead group, and orange I'm happy to be co-facilitator. Red I'm going to be there, but I'm not facilitator. I'm just going to use the group, and obviously not going to be there. So then that allows us to allocate people and sort of. Some people will come to City College one week, march on to next week, and that sort of stuff.
have you seen since like 2017 when it started, there's been like a better approach to everything? Like there's been more groups, and do you think you're like on a good path to?
Yeah. When we started in Plymouth 5 years ago, we were group number 20.
Yeah.
In the UK, and now we're approaching 200. And that's even with COVID. So COVID didn't stop. We moved online during COVID quite quickly. Everything went online very quickly. And that's actually continued, because we do notice that some guys don't live anywhere near a group or can't get out of the house on a Monday night. So the online group has carried on, which has actually allowed us to open new groups, because there'll be 3 or 4 guys in an area who use it for a few months and then think actually we want to go and set the group up, and it's allowed us.
Yeah, I think the best thing about this group is like it's kind of inspired other people to start other things, and like, you know, it's not just Andy's Man Club, there's so many different places you can go to, which I mean they probably didn't think that would happen when they first started this.
No, I think the goal for Andy's Man Club was to get Andy's Man Club in 30 minutes drive of everyone around the country.
Is it?
Yeah.
30-minute radius of everyone.
Yeah. And that's massive. And I think one of the things that helped Andy's Man Club was they've done the publicity that Andy's Man Club's got has been absolutely fantastic. So they did a scene in Emmerdale where they actually had an Andy's Man Club session on
Emmerdale. They spent
Emmerdale.
about a year going through the script writers about how to properly do it, and
I didn't know that.
Paddy the vet was the one, wasn't he?
Paddy.
He was the guy that was going through struggles in the show, and he went along to an Andy's Man Club, and then included
I've
that
seen
in the
you
show.
been on like Lab Bible, when you've been
Lab
on
Bible.
the radio and stuff. And
Manchester City as well.
Manchester City just
got
opened
a partnership.
a group at the club.
Yeah.
At the football stadium.
And I can imagine the person who found it probably never even dreamed in a million years that it'd be this big.
So he played for Luciano's, and he don't like Luciano's.
You only ever started if
No.
stop families doing the same thing.
So you look at it like from that group where
Yeah.
9 blokes came
So now.
to now. Our old area lead, Ollie, went to that very first group, didn't he? He went to that very first one, Halifax. He's now high up doing the IT for Andy's Man Club, all the media and stuff like that he's doing now. So he actually works for the charity. So he started going on putting pins in places where he was opening groups. Steve's now started down here, who's one of our ones out.
Yeah, see, for us, we've started this as a hobby. I mean, like, we literally come up with this idea, just being in the gym, having a chat, just the two of us, and we thought, why don't we just film us two chatting? You might pick up a couple of people along the way, and we'll see where it takes us. But at the minute, we just kind of started as a hobby, haven't we? Just trying to get around as many people as
That's
possible.
all you need is an idea. That's all you need. And the beauty of it is as well, like the publicity that it's got. I think after Emmerdale, I'm pretty sure the week after, the numbers spiked.
Yeah, we had a really big jump the next week
Yeah.
of new guys. It went up like 100 new guys more than the previous week, just because I think they said like partners would see it and would mention it. So the thing that we have as well is we'll go out and do, like, Steve's just in place now as our new lead for the Southwest. So his job is to go out and like do talks in businesses and engage with companies and things like that.
Yeah, so that's kind of like, if you ask me now on the spot, like, what is your idea? Is I kind of want to take it to like schools and kind of take it to places and try and.
Well, the one question we get asked all the time is, when we want to do a talk at like a business, is it men only then can come to the talk? And we say, well, no, it's the only time that the group is men only is Monday night 7 till 9.
Yeah.
If we're doing a talk at a business, women, everyone can come along, because the number of guys we have come along who say, I never knew about you, but my wife saw you at work 2 weeks ago and she said I should come along, or my sister, or my family friend.
See, I find that crazy you saying about, wife said like telling people to come along, because I struggled for a long time and I'd never had the courage ever to speak to my partner at the time or my mum. Like, I speak to my mum now.
I think that is getting better with time and sort of things like being on Emmerdale and things like that. The stigma is it's not perfect, but it is slowly getting.
No, 100%. My missus pretty much saved my life, mate. If I didn't speak to her that night when I got back from Hull City, if I hadn't spoke to her that night, the next day I would have gone to Dunbridge.
Yeah,
I spoke to her that night.
I do find it crazy, because like I said, a couple of years ago, I never would have dreamed of speaking to anybody. Like, I speak to my partner a lot now.
It does help me now. So my partner that I met in early 2019, before I started this, been together 5 years now. A little boy who's just turned 1. So for me, as well as saving my life, it's also given me the opportunity to have.
Is it crazy seeing that now, like, looking back and thinking, I was 1 point there and now I'm.
He'd never be here if it wasn't for.
So I think that's the main message, isn't it? Like, you can be there, but you will eventually be where you want to be if you carry on with, get yourself sorted.
And I say that I think probably in 6 years, it'll be 6 years in September, I've been involved in his man club. I've probably missed 10 groups, maybe 15 groups in all that time.
Yeah.
And I do feel like when he was born, he was in hospital. I had to miss a couple of weeks, and it was weird. It was annoying in a way, because I needed to be with my partner, but at the same time I needed Andy's Man Club, because I needed to talk about it and I needed to get that off my chest.
I don't like bank holidays anymore, man. Hate a bank holiday.
So we do feel it when you miss a week, absolutely. Like, or there were weeks where.
But do you not find that a bit refreshing though? Because then you have a bit more time that, that first week, that week last week was shit, but next week they've. Okay,
I mean, in a way, I think I'm at a point for me personally where some bank holidays come along. The May bank holiday is horrible because you've got one at the start, one at the end.
Yeah.
Like the August one for me will probably be horrible because I'll miss it, but at the same time it's like, right, I don't have to be out on a Monday. Like, I can be with my football boy and that. So I do have a bit of a balance, but we do have guys who will come along and go, I really missed it last week, or I should have come last week, and the number of weeks where I thought I've started working now with my new job. I'm up in Exeter Monday and Tuesday every week, and there'll be weeks. I'm sure there'll be weeks coming up, not so far, but there will be weeks where I'll drive back on a Monday, and I'll be like, I could just go home and go to bed. But I know when I come here, as tired as I am, when I leave at 9 o'clock, but I'm so glad I came to I'm so glad, because I saw whoever they're in a better place, or I got that off my chest that's been eaten away at me for weeks. So it is very rewarding.
Yeah, that first week I remember that very first week, my missus pretty much pushed me out the door, essentially. And I was sat in the car, I was going to turn around and do one. A guy called Lewis came, knocked on my door. you're here for Andy's Man Club here, and I was like, can't back out now, can I?
No.
And here I am.
See me.
I'm in now, and I haven't looked back since. Like, it's been a journey, like, but it's one of them that I really miss it when I'm not there. That first week, I felt like I could have flown to my car.
Yeah.
Like, I felt the weight just lived out. Like, this is what I need this.
No, I do remember like when we came up with the idea of the podcast, this was something that I did look at. Cause I remember seeing a Facebook post about, it was a Monday, and I did think about coming. I thought there's no chance I could ever sit in a room and talk about how I feel.
We don't have to talk.
Well, I know that now.
I'd say chaps are always welcome to come along and sort of, so there's no pressure to sort of get involved in it, and absolutely no pressure to get involved, whether it's here, whether it's a city college. You can alternate between the two venues, and like we do as facilitators, and there's no signing in or anything like that. It's very much at your pace.
Yeah, it's completely confidential, and people in the group will help you. Like we just said, like we related to each other just for having this chat, and people in the group do as well. Like we've got people that offer some of the best advice I've seen. There's probably times as a facilitator when I should sit in there and go, can you stop there? But there's times where I think, and it's completely up to your judgment. I'm at a place now where I can give my question free up, like quite happily, to let someone else have a bit longer with the ball. And I do that for the advice that some of the lads in the circle give, because there is some fantastic bits of advice that I get.
And that to me is the biggest question, where if you haven't got anything for that question, that's absolutely fine.
Pass it on.
Like, pass it on with glee if you haven't got anything to go off your chest that week. I mean, it could be something as simple as you've been fine all week and then someone cut you up at the roundabout on the way in. That could be you get off your chest just to get it out. Oh, that person, I must have had an accident on the way in.
I think the beauty of this is, like, I was expecting, when you two kind of spoke about your story, I was kind of expecting, I don't know, something mental. But that's the thing, that you can just come here and, like we always say, your problem might be massive to you.
We do get guys come here who are in a really bad way, absolutely.
Yeah.
But then we get guys who come here who just have had a bad week, had an argument with a partner in the afternoon, or have had a bad day at work, or just want to get out on a Monday night because they haven't got anything else to do. And that's why there's no sort of,
there's no criteria being here.
No criteria for being here. Obviously the only thing would be 18 and over, that's the only criteria, but there's no sort of mental health criteria. It's absolutely up to
it's not like that CBT where you got to
almost
validate the fact that you're not mentally okay, and it's like, that's probably one of the worst things as well, isn't it? So like,
because then you kind of you don't get given the help you need, so then you kind of think, well, maybe I'm not worthy of help.
Because for a lot of people that's step one, isn't it, to try and seek help, and then they're being turned away because they're not in too bad a way to somebody else, or your problem is not negative enough. And it's like, well, the effort it took to make that step for somebody
might be the difference.
That's why I think like Andy's Man Club works so well, because like for you, I feel like from just listening to it, it wasn't even the passing the ball or sharing or anything like that. It was just walking into a room and seeing people accept that they're not right, and that there is other people that aren't okay. There's other people that are depressed. There's other people in a similar situation, and that in itself was probably the validation that you maybe needed 100%. In the first place. That's why I think, as much as you've said, Reese, that you couldn't do this and you'd write down, and you're somebody that writes stuff down, you've been here doing exactly what, and just because it wasn't like you came here to be in Andy's Man Club session, you still have actually kind of come in and done one, and when you think about that, then you didn't even think about doing this, did you?
No.
You've done it on phone as well. You
Yeah.
get recorded as well.
On that.
Do you know what I mean? And you've obviously shared stuff.
Before we wrap up, should we do like a fun ball?
We'll give you question 4 and 5.
Yeah.
So basically, we just literally as we go in there, like so. Question 4 this week was, if I remember right, I'll remember it off the top of my head. What's the biggest positive change you've made in the last 12 months, and how has it impacted you? So for me, it was definitely changing job. So I started a new job in November. Not that wasn't the case that I absolutely hated my old job. I just needed to change, and I'm there in a role where 2 days a week I'm in the office, 3 days a week I'm at home. So I'm at home, I can see my boy when he's there. I'm not getting home at 4 o'clock and asleep on the sofa by 20 past 4 like I used to be. I'm a lot better in that way. It's a new job that I'm learning, but I say it gives me that flexibility as well. That like if I need to go and take my boy into the doctors or go and get a haircut, I can just take a couple of hours in the afternoon and go and do that, and then come back and work a bit later. So yeah, definitely changing my job.
Mine was in February. I did warrior program for the military, and they taught me things like timeline therapy and a bit of meditation as well. They taught me how to meditate, and some of that's meditation, some of that I've like massively taken from that. So I do a guided meditating every morning before I go for a run, and that's helps me no end doing the meditating.
So for me, it's pretty recent. So I broke up with my girlfriend for like 2 years. And I went through the kind of idea that I was guilty about it, but I wasn't feeling bad about it in the way that maybe I should. Like, I cared for her sake, but I almost was on myself for not feeling upset like the way that I should, or the way she was. But I really focused on myself and the things that I was kind of maybe on the back burner just because of relationship going on, and you put your time into somebody and you're trying to make, that's one of the reasons why it didn't work, is because it was very much like I was her like rock. She was always leaning on me, and it kind of put me on the back burner all the time. And like, I'm studying to do personal training, which is what I want to do with my life. And I just gone all out for it and tried to study, and like I went for an interview on Monday, and I come out with so much like confidence in that I know I have the ability to do things, but you doubt that you can do things sometimes, like everybody does. And when you're going to have a big shift in your life, like you're just getting started, and it's very much on me to like self-motivate and believe in myself. So the biggest change for me is believing in myself and having people around me that, you know, believe in me to do it. And I was very much in the mindset of it's on you to do it, and I'd get down on myself if I decided not to study one day, or something like I said before, I'd feel pretty useless if I was sat there just watching something when I'm like, you know, I could be studying, I could be doing something with this. But I told myself, you know, it's all right, and it's a process, and you know where you're going, and you're just working towards it day after day. And you know, it's all right if you feel crap about yourself, because you know that you're on a journey, you're young, and you don't have to have it all sorted. And it's the idea I was not fulfilling my potential by like holding myself back, but yeah, I've really.
I think it's the first time you've ever opened up, by the way.
But it's this magic ball. But yeah, so it's really like just pointing myself in the right direction, and just.
We do that sometimes, don't we? Where we think we should have it all figured out. I think social media's got a lot to answer for with that, really, where we look at people's perfect lives, what they post, but they're not going to post. Yeah, they're not going to post themselves studying for hours on end. They're going to post themselves at the end when they've got that goal.
Yeah, exactly that. Or, you know, you just got to know what you want and where you're going. Is like the advice I'd give to somebody is just know what you want and just see the direction you're going, and just take it a step at a time. There's no, what my dad said to me, and it really helped, is, you know, there's no time limit. Like, you're not under a time limit. You put that, and like you said, the way that I see it, it's something that I want to talk about in like an episode on itself, is because you see so many people, millionaires before 30, and they've got all this sorted out. And I remember I was sat there and I asked myself, I was looking at these like Snapchat and Instagram people and influencers, and then I saw them doing like a photo shoot, and I was like, you know, is that really a life that you'd want to have? Like, even though it seems really good and they get money out of it, it's like, would you want to be doing that, like the behind the scenes of their life? Like you say, we're seeing an image while we're scrolling through of this perfect edited life, and it's like, you know, you got to know what you want and don't compare yourself to other people. And it's all right to be, like I said, it's a good thing that I feel like I'm not at my potential. That's a good thing. But you got to just don't put a time limit on yourself and accept that you're doing it a step at a time, and you're just working away at you and getting better day by day. And that's, yeah, so
I suppose you launch this ball at me.
no, but yeah, it's
a ball to come my way.
yeah, so that's the good thing. I've realised that a harsh judge of yourself is not a bad thing. You just got to give yourself the chance, you know?
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah.
Thanks, mate. For me, probably getting a new job. I think you get stuck in a rut sometimes. I was in that same job for 7 years. You get yourself into the same routine. And now I've got a new job, and it's like you kind of look at the old job and think, what was I doing for so long? You know, I'm in a job where Monday to Friday, no weekends, bank holidays off. Everyone's so chilled. You know, you kind of can do what you want. Obviously, probably, and then getting into a relationship where I actually feel wanted. It's nice to be in a relationship where that other person like looks at you like the way someone should look at you, and you get that like feeling that you actually are wanted. I haven't felt that in a long time, so them two.
And last but not least, our question 5 for this week. What was your favourite cartoon as a child? So for me, I'm going to show my age a little bit. Mine was either Ghostbusters or Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. That's my favourite.
Do you know what? I said The Simpsons on Monday, but it's not.
You change your answer.
SpongeBob.
Oh,
Loved
that's so
That's
many.
mine. That's what I would have said. I would have said SpongeBob is definitely the one. There was one called Grizzly Tales for Gruesome Kids as well.
That was a classic.
It's like
yeah.
it kind of
mate,
like
there's-
Forgot about that
animation,
one.
but I feel like it's definitely
There
in
are
the
so
cartoon
many.
realm.
I've gone full on early 90s with mine.
But yeah, I used to come home and I would watch SpongeBob. I'd whack on Nickelodeon.
Yeah.
If it wasn't
mate, there are
SpongeBob,
so
I'd
many.
put Grizzly Tales for
Drake
Gruesome
and Josh.
Kids. And
It's not a cartoon though, is it?
It's not a cartoon.
yeah, so like that one for me definitely, because it would just repeat as well. Like there was so much SpongeBob, I had to just like put it on. So I'm 100% on that one as well.
See, for me, I've got loads. It's like Kids Next Door. Used to love that as a kid. Horrid Henry. Like obviously now present times like Family Guy and stuff like that.
That's what
But-
started your rebellious days, isn't it?
Yeah,
That Horrid
there's
Henry
so
watching
many
that.
Scooby Doo. I used to love Scooby Doo as a kid. Yeah, probably like one of those 4.
I've got a favourite cartoon now.
Go on.
Bluey.
It is mint. Bluey's
Like,
good.
the number of life lessons I learned from Bluey.
I've got to say.
Me and my girlfriend will pause Bluey if one of us leaves the room. Like, right, pause it.
Is that a kid's show?
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's amazing.
I watch it with
Amazing.
kids like it's class.
It is amazing.
Australian dog. It's class.
Honestly, the number of things you go, oh shit, yeah, I didn't think of
It's
that.
better than Pepper.
Like, yeah, Peppa Pig's not very nice, but yeah, Bluey's Bluey's
Right, before we wrap up, is there any questions you got left? Anything you want to add?
No, I think
No, just if you are thinking of going to Andy's Man Club, if you are listening, obviously www.andysmanclub.co.uk, go on there. You can find your closest club to you. If you go on the website, there's a map on there. You can put your postcode in, put your city in, something like that, and it'll literally take you and tell you where the venue is with a little 3 words at the bottom as well.
Yeah, we'll link that in the description for the video.
Anyone that's thinking of going to an online group due to like childcare reasons, things like that, you can if you email info@andysmanclub.co.uk, they'll send you out a link for the online group as well. And they'll try and pair you up sort of geographically with people in and around your area. So if you're in the southwest, could go as far as Exeter, maybe somewhere like that, Bristol area. You could be paired up with someone in geographical location. Same sort of group, same questions as everyone that's gone to the groups in person as well. Also, Andy's Man Club are in a lot of events as well. So you've got the Holden 10k, you've got the Delamere Forest, you've got the 10k, 2k, half marathon in Delamere Forest in Cheshire, running the Great North Run as well. I've got a Just Giving page, so donate to that one.
we got, for those people in Plymouth, we're going to be at Armed Forces Day.
Armed Forces
in a couple of weeks.
Pride.
Pride in a couple of weeks as well. Yeah, we normally at events, and if you see anyone out with a Andy's Man Club t-shirt or hoodie or even a wristband,
Well, we want to thank thank you for your time. It's been a pleasure sitting and getting things off you. I think you needed it. Probably the first time I've ever heard you open up.
Like we say, if it doesn't have to be
It's that ball.
if at any point you wanted to come along and get involved in it, even just sort of sit like this and just listen to what people are saying.
Just listen, yeah.
And it's absolutely well.
Yeah, I think like a good takeaway as well is, like you said, you just turn up somewhere and try and just make a step, even if, because we obviously say about talking about it is, you know, the best way, but obviously write it down or just turn up and don't talk, even if it's just, like I said, to see people and feel that your negative emotions and thoughts are valid. You know, there's people going through stuff every day, all the time, and the best, you know, the person living the best life in the world, it could be the worst life in the world the next day. You're never alone in things.
If people did want to try it, the only thing you're going to lose is 2 hours on a Monday night.
2 hours on a Monday, that's all you're losing. Do you know what? You're not going to lose out on anything, are there? Because the things you learn in there, even if you're just listening in the groups, there's times where I don't open up in the groups, I ain't got anything to open up about, but things you listen to in the group, you listen to people, and like you say, you can just relate to somebody in there as well. So, and they are all over the country now as well, 190 groups around the country. There is one probably within an hour's drive of people around the country now, so unless you live in Cornwall. So if you're aware, to get yourselves to a group, you're not losing out on anything. It's absolutely fine to talk as well. So don't get to talk.
Yeah, and this is a prime example of it, isn't it? 4 people never met, well, we obviously know each other, but people that have never met each other connected over 2 things and opened up naturally. Like, we didn't even intend to open up and make it like a thing where we'd open up about stuff, and it just, after a while, like with Reese, he didn't think he could do it, but yeah, no, he was naturally doing it just by sitting here and feeling like it's all right to be vulnerable, it's all right to just accept what's going on and maybe share it. Like, you might feel comfortable sharing it as well. But yeah, so that's it for this one, guys. Obviously, we hope you've enjoyed listening to it. Hopefully you've got a takeaway, and if nothing else, you know about Andy's Man Club and who they are, what they're about, and like they said, you there's probably one 30 minutes away from you. So if you're there struggling, sat at home, and you didn't know quite where to go, you know, this is one route you can go to. And so, as always, watch the next one if you feel like it, and join our conversation or join these guys' conversation, and you know, just see where it goes. But it's all right to not be all right. I think that would be what I put on the billboard. If you pass that ball back around, I think it's okay to not be okay. But yeah, hopefully we'll see you in the next one, guys. Yeah, that's it.
Why should we do that first time round?
Yes. That's what Barry's talking about. Let's do it.